What is the saddest thought we were friends moment? 4th grade. It was my best friend's birthday. She had recently transitioned to homeschooling. Up until she was in homeschooling, we spent most days together and every single weekend. When she moved to homeschooling, we only hung out every other weekend or so because she was busy with school. I gave her a call to wish her a happy birthday. She was in the middle of her birthday party. She had invited all of her friends, which I then figured out I wasn't one of. We had to pick partners for dodgeball in like 5th grade, so I went to ask my friend. He told me, hey, wait a second. I just gotta check something, and then asked literally 5 other students until one finally accepted to pair with him. I had to play with the freaking teacher on that round. Friend I thought I had when I was a kid shot me in the chest with a BB gun once. Pretty much lured me into the woods to do it too. That ended things pretty quickly. Whoa, what a psycho. I got shot in the stomach with a BB once at point blank range by my high school boyfriend. He had it pressed directly muzzle to belly. He said it was an accident, but I don't think so. In the 6th grade I had one friend. We lived right next door to each other. She was homeschooled until the 6th grade. Then she started going to public school with me. Right off the bat, it was like she didn't know me. A couple of girls started picking on me, and she became friends with them. She didn't pick on me, but she didn't stop them. The words didn't have to come out of her mouth. It was already obvious. In 2nd grade I gave my best friend one half of a best friend's necklace. At recess that day, she came over to me and asked to see my half to show this other girl in our class. She gave my half to the other girl and we never spoke again. Kinda in reverse of what the question asked, but here goes. In 6th grade, someone asked me and this other kid if we were friends. We both said yeah. Then he asked if we were best friends and I said no at the same time as he said yes. Felt like complete crap. I did something crappy too. I was in this hotel lobby waiting and this friendly kid sits down right beside me to chat. I just get up and leave. My friend, who had been complaining about having to spend 2 days with her boyfriend, asked me for my opinion of them moving in together. I mean, you got annoyed with him after 2 days into your vacation. So, how well I get annoyed with you after 2 hours so. I flinched. Our friendship never recovered after that. When one of my actual friends and I were chatting one day about someone I thought was a mutual friend. My actual friend said, dude, when does he call you? When he needs something from you. That's it. He doesn't hang out and laugh like we do. He's not your friend and he's not mine either. If he was a real friend, he'd hang out when he didn't need a favor specifically from you. Actual friend was right. Realizing almost no one you've known was your friend, but was friendly with you out of desperate loneliness or coincidental life circumstances. I think I've had a half dozen friends in my life. Perhaps worse is looking back and realizing what a needy pain in the butt you were to everyone around you. Most of my friends in HS were like this. The upside is finding out who your real friends are and how to grow as a person. This happened when I was 12. I had just moved schools, but I still tried my best to hang out and keep in contact with all my other friends. After a month or so, it was one of my best friend's birthday and everyone was invited except me. I ended up asking to come too, which wasn't a big deal since we usually turned up at each other's houses all the time anyway and I didn't want to miss out on the fun. So I go and we genuinely had a great time until it was around 8 o'clock-ish and one of them asked me when I was going home. I decided that my parents hadn't given me a time I needed to arrive home by, so I said that I would leave when everyone else did. This is how it usually went as I didn't live that far, so it wouldn't take long for me to get back anyway. A couple hours roll past and it's now pitch black outside and nobody had left, so I ask when everyone else is planning on leaving to head back home and it's now that they all say that they're actually there to have a sleepover, except me. So I start heading back home all by myself and I must have taken a wrong turn because I got lost and didn't know where I was. I went to call my mum to pick me up, but my phone was very conveniently out of charge. I wandered around for ages before finally finding a road I was familiar with and I sprinted back home as it would take another half hour to get back home from where I was now and I didn't want my parents to panic. I get home still crying and out of breath just as my mum was leaving in the car to drive around and come and find me. That was fun. Oh man, that's so sad, I can't imagine it. In the summer before 5th grade I was in a summer program with my bestest ever friend since kindergarten. One day she told me that she wanted to be friends with another girl, so she was going to stop being my friend. Still haven't recovered from that, even years later. Crap fricks you up long term. I had this happen twice in elementary school and I'm still convinced none of my friends actually like me. When I was 12 I was at my friend's house who was a few years older and I thought was really cool. He showed me this red cell phone he was gonna give his girlfriend, who I've never met. A week later a few of us were hanging out and one of the girls is really flirting with me. She was older and really cute. So my inexperienced 12-year-old self asked if she wanted to be my girlfriend and she said yes. I was flying on cloud 9 until later that night she pulls out the same red cell phone my friend was giving to his GF, who I then realized was her. Turns out it was a joke they were playing on me. I didn't think it was that funny. Oh dude, I know the feeling. I was not super popular with girls in my youth, and a couple of times had girls pretend to like me only to find out it was just a joke. It's probably why in part I had massive self-esteem issues in my late teens. 34 now and confident, but it took years to get here. A college friend asked to borrow $500, with a promise to pay it back in full 1 month later. At the time, it was nearly all the money I had, so it was a sacrifice to loan it. After nearly 3 months went by, I finally asked him to please repay the loan as I needed it for expenses. He said, "Hate to break it to ya, but it's not gonna happen." So I said, "Whatever problem you're facing, I wish you good luck with it. No need to pay me back." He didn't even thank me. Never heard from him again. He said, "Hate to break it to ya, but it's not gonna happen. It's one thing to not be able to pay it back and being apologetic, but that's just straight freaking disrespect and then some. Really should have whooped his butt for that." Couple of friends and I were planning to do driving lessons together. They did them without me. I had to do them alone and bored. I even waited a few months for them to turn 16 too. What the frick? I was with a group of people when one person mocked me by saying you don't have any friends. So I turned to my friend next to me and said he's my friend, but he jokingly said I'm not your friend. Was pretty humiliated and disappointed at the same time. Depending on the tone, that's totally something all my friends and I would say to each other. I hope you all were joking, or you let them know you weren't feeling it. When I was in 5th grade I went on a student ambassador trip to Australia. I went with about 20 other kids my age and didn't really get along with anyone. That combined with the fact I was homesick as heck for those 2 weeks made the trip pretty miserable. There was one other kid on the trip that I made friends with purely because we were the outcasts. He made me promise to stay his friend for the whole trip because the other kids were being really mean to him. We had a sort of pact against the popular kids. Anyway, jump forward to the last night of our trip. You can probably see where this is going. We were at a restaurant and I asked him to sit with me. He walks right past me like he doesn't even know me to sit with the popular kids. I walked over to their table and asked why he wouldn't sit with me. He looks at me dead in the face and says, in front of everyone else, "This annoying kid, we were never friends. I have never felt so betrayed in my life." What in butthole? When I was 21 I had been dating this guy. We were living together and everything. He seemed super nice. Came off as so charming to everyone, good looking, nice, good family. Anyways, one day I come home from work and I notice all his stuff is gone. I was devastated because there was no indication anything was wrong before he left. He just up and left, completely ghosted me. During the time I dated this guy I introduced him to my closest friend group, one of whom was my best friend since grade school. This breakup really rocked me, ended up going to the hospital and everything. So, a week after the breakup my best friend, and my other close friend at the time, told me that I should meet X's new girlfriend because she's so nice and I'd really like her. They also told me I should stop being so sad and move on already. It was one of the most heartbreaking experiences in my life and I've been through some pretty messed up stuff. Needless to say I don't talk to any of those people anymore and the ex married that girlfriend. Frick them all, haha. What the frick? Used to have a single friend after my friend group dissolved in middle school, and we were the only two left. She and I found our own groups to hang out with. but she would often guilt me when I'd spend time with them over her. I didn't realize how isolated she'd made me until I went out with her and her friends. She told me to sit at a different table, and nobody said anything. Good times. I still stuck around until graduation because I'd alienated everyone else. I talked with a therapist a few years after and she connected the dots between my current aversion to friendship relationships and my past LOL. Before then, I couldn't even explain why I don't trust people now. We met freshman year of college, and a few years after we graduated she asked me to be her maid of honor. The wedding was called off a few weeks before the wedding. Good thing. I initially tried to call and text, but then gave spaces that seemed like what she wanted. After 2 years of practical radio silence I kind of got the picture, or so I thought. Then she randomly texted me and another friend from college a picture of her hand with a new engagement ring. Apparently she'd been dating someone else for a while now and was engaged. I was surprised and didn't respond because that was almost the only time she reached out to me in 2 years. Fast forward a couple weeks she texted asking if it was still my number and if I'd heard her news. When I said I had, I was just surprised because I didn't know she was seeing someone else. However, if she was happy then I was happy. She went into an incredibly long apology and asked if I would fly to their semi-destination wedding. I politely declined, a little to do with them flying to a coveted hotspot, but mainly because a family member would be visiting soon. She then said that she wanted to call on one of 2 days so that we could catch up and all that. I mistakenly agreed and after a little small talk that was that. Well, the daytime she said she would call rolls around and I stare at the phone that's never going to ring. It's been 2 months since then and haven't heard one word from her. Oh, this hurts so much. I'm really sorry this happened to you. After second year in university, where I'd been living in halls, a group of friends and I agreed we'd register to rent a house next year. Agreed we'd all go off to wherever it was we needed to register one morning. I was lying in bed asleep and half woke when some of them came in to speak to my then roommate. Then they all agreed to sneak out and register without waking me. Roommates are the worst. You dodged a huge bullet if that was their sentiment before living with you. When I was 11, the kid next door invited me to go to the local amusement park with him and his family on that weekend for his birthday. I love amusement parks and especially at 11 I was excited as can be to go. The thing was that day my parents had to drop me off at my grandma's house, so they arranged for my friend's family to pick me up from there to go to the amusement park. Except they never showed up. I even had the whole waiting on the porch looking out for their car to drive up thing going on. The next week when I saw the kid we were hanging out and I noticed a thank you letter from one of the other neighborhood kids that he decided to take instead of me without telling me. I asked what happened but he had some lame excuse that I knew was BS but went along with it and the friendship essentially ended there. That's so freaking evil, man. Can't believe the crap people do nowadays. Ugh. It's not much but years ago I found a friend online playing Minecraft. We played for years and then out of the blue he destroyed my base on a Minecraft server I introduced him to. Over 500 hours into the server, stole everything inside, killed all my dinos on Ark, it had come out recently, and much more. Insult to injury, I had bought him a game like a week prior, and for my jobless self, the $30 was a lot of money. Dude just wanted to see my suffer, I guess. That's very unfortunate, man. A girl I thought was my best friend and there for me through a tough time I was having with our group of girls ended up being the person driving the wedge between me and the rest of my friends. When I was in like 3rd grade, a kid's mom told me they were having a small family birthday party for him. Then at school everyone was talking about how much fun his birthday party had been. In 7th grade a similar thing happened with someone's bar mitzvah. Everyone came to school talking about how fun it had been and I hadn't been invited. I didn't really make good friends who appreciated me until high school. Dude had cancer at a really young age, like 8 or 9, and we were best friends. He went to hospital and my mum would always call his mum to let me speak to him. A few months later he gets well enough to go to school and go on the school trip. He immediately went to a different friend group, like the kind who would suck up for him and be nice to him cause of what he went through. He never once spoke to me again that year, and after that he went to high school somewhere different to me and we lost touch. Randomly messages me on Xbox like 6 years later asking how I was doing. I just broke down. I was there for him when he needed help, but he abandoned me when I needed it. If he him on read then unfriended him. I don't need him in my life. Crap hits hard man. BTW on mobile. Wait, not 6 years, prob 8 years. A girl I was friends with for 5-6 years or so, and I stopped talking because I came to the realization she only wanted me around because no matter what she knew I'd be there to clean up any mess she created. She treated me like crap constantly, always put me down, stood me up, never actually cared about me, never listened to anything that was troubling me, and most of the time ignored me unless she needed me to do something for her. The last straw was months went by without us talking. I'd messaged her loads but no reply, and all of a sudden after months I get a text I'm pregnant and it isn't my boyfriend's. I was in a servo traveling and I just thought frick this crap, I'm done, and blocked her number. I was with my ex at the time who helped me through the process, but my god it freaking hurt. Years and years of time and effort put into that relationship for nothing. In 5th grade, the person I considered at the time to be my best friend had their birthday coming up. We had this little group of weirdos, all of us basically friends that found each other because we didn't really fit in anywhere else. I asked him what he was doing for his birthday, and he said he sent out invitations. I mentioned I hadn't gotten mine, and his response was, "You realize we're only friends with you because we feel sorry for you?" I suppose that was his way of telling me that I wasn't invited on purpose, but I did at the time believe him that everybody felt that way, and I basically spent middle school without friends because I couldn't trust that any friendship was real. Ouch, the weirdos are the weirdos. I thought I was friends with my coworker. It turns out she was going to the boss behind my back and telling him things that never happened about me. She didn't do it just once, but multiple times. The boss never checked with me and thought I was the one causing problems at the job site. It really hurt when I found out. I truly thought she was my friend. Yeah, I learned the hard way to not really trust co-workers too much or tell them how much I get paid. It always backfires, always, quite literally, even though we all get paid crap. This happened about a week ago. I met this really cute girl through one of my friends and we started to talk a lot. I had a little crush on her and apparently she did too. I took the time to get to know her and one day finally decided to ask her out. She said if I made her a song. I'm a small artist. I thought it wasn't a big deal and I got to work. The friend who introduced her to me told me she was just playing me, so I asked her about it. It took her a couple of days to give a complete answer, but she told me she was just playing. I was so sad, but that's not even the worst part. A couple of days later I struck up a conversation with her about the situation and asked if we could still be friends. And she replied with, "Still? I am still broken from this whole thing and have lost a lot of confidence when I'm around girls." She's being crappy because her life is crappy. You're better off. The first person in my high school group of friends to get married asked everyone except me to be a bridesmaid. She claimed her fiancé didn't have another friend to ask, but it became pretty obvious that was a lie. My other friends in the bridal party said they made sure I was invited to the bachelorette party, and when I got there the maid of honor, the bride's sister, had made matching shirts for everyone except me and then claimed they didn't know what to put on mine since I wasn't a bridesmaid. So I wore black to the summer wedding and pee everyone off because they claimed it ruined the pictures. The ending, chef's kiss. But for wedding stuff seems to cause all types of drama, always convincing me I shouldn't have won, lol. Hope everything in your social circle is doing a lot better. Was Grau partners with this girl for 3 classes for the whole year in high school. We shared snacks and stuff and had a lot in common, and was occasionally shushed by the teacher since we always chatted. We never hung out outside of school since we both worked and she had extracurricular activities, but we chatted on social media occasionally. Then the year ended and we happened to run into each other at an amusement park. She was with her family and I said hi and started chatting QND. She acted as if she didn't know me and walked away. Tried the same thing on the first day of the next year and she did the same thing. I don't know what I did. Some of my friends are friends with her and never heard anything either. I was bullied by a kid in middle school. One day he grabbed me and kneed me into a wall. My hand was positioned weirdly and he fractured it. It was painful and I went over to my friend to consolidate me. "What are you coming to me for?" is what he said in front of many others who saw. I felt so alone. I went to the nurse and said I tripped on a tree root, which I was able to point out, and slammed hard into a wall. Not even my father knew. I was too afraid to say anything. I tried to look up my bully but can't find any trace of him on social media. I'd like to pay him a friendly visit one day. If you find out his address, you should just shove dog crap through his letterbox and under the door handles of his car. You could also pee down his windscreen, which would stink the car out when he turns the aircon on. Throw food onto his roof that will easily mold. Friend texted me asking to hang out in a group. Them texts again after I'd already gotten ready saying I can't come anymore because another person she invited doesn't know me and doesn't want to hang out with me. WTF. One time my friend snitched on me for being high in class. Never spoke to him again. He was smoking weed with me earlier that week too. Frick you Nick. Nick the dong. He got all my friends against me. Every single one of them hated me. I tried to find out what I did to him but I got nothing. It got to the point where I'd end up physically hurt. All the friend groups I had ever been in had just left me. I was glad when I moved schools. So thank you, Peter, for boosting my trust issues. Frick Peter, all my homies hate Peter. I want to say my story but I usually make a lot of mistakes because I don't speak English. So I was with my friends, and I told them that I need to give money one of our friends because he wasn't with us and I borrowed his money the day before. They said they are going to the school court and when I'll be done I have to go there. When I finally came they were really rude to me for no reason. They were swearing and they cursed on me. I was like 9 years old so I was really sad and I went really angry. I fought with them and ran home crying. Sorry if you can't understand. I tried my best. I understood the story. I'm sorry that happened to you. She said we were best friends. I gave her a friendship necklace expecting her to give me the other half. I found out that she gave one half to herself and one to another girl then lied about it. She then bullied me for years so that was fun. We planned out days before matching pirate costumes for Halloween. I come to find out that she got a new best friend and matching biker costumes to go trick or treating with the hour before we were gonna go together. We were best friends for so long though that I was really upset about it and I'm still a little salty lol. But I got to go trick or treating with my little siblings instead, which was nice actually cause my mom gave me more candy when we came back home. When I test the what if I stop writing first and no one reaches out ever again, or also when I got a severe depression episode and no one cared and ghosted me, I now share not one single contact with people before 2017. That's my nightmare to be put to that test. I'm terrible at writing people. I always think that it's not the time to write. They'd be annoyed with me and most of the time just don't have the resources to maintain casual chatting with lots of people on regular basis. So I'm really worried one of them decides to test me like that and I'll never write and just assume I was annoying after all. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.